So welcome everyone to Marketing 101 series, a channel strategy series. And today is all about investing in success with paid channels. I'm Laura Dunkley, fractional CMO at Acorn Studio Marketing. If you have any questions about the content or want to reach out about your marketing, please do reach out at laura@acornstudio.marketing. Today's agenda, we're going to do a very quick review of the three types of media that we've been covering. And then we're going to touch base on what paid media actually is. What are the steps to a paid media campaign, specifically digital? Marketing stats, we're going to touch on a few just for inspiration and mention third-party cookies because it is the hot topic these days. And what are they and why do we need to consider them? And then run through some paid media channel examples. And finally, we're going to run through some popular digital ad platforms. And I even have an ad demo at the end after putting a meta ad together to show you what you can do. This is what we're following. If you haven't had a chance to download it, there's the link, and it is the channel strategy checklist template. Customize it for yourself, as well as the Garden Grows, our sample company demo is there. All right, let's get started. Types of marketing channels. Remember, there's those three big categories that we've been talking about, and having the right mix for your business is what we're working through to be strategic. It has to be right. There's that critical list of, is your audience on there? Is this the right budget for you? Do you have the right resources, skills? We covered a lot of that right at the first session. So please do revisit that if you're not sure about what channels are right for you. Owned is that those channels that you fully control as a brand. Earned is those things where others are sharing your story and your brand, and you've earned a spot in their testimonials, reviews, word of mouth that you cannot pay for. You have to actually earn it, which is why it is, but it's incredibly valuable. Paid, you do have control over. This is something we're going to talk about today, and it is meant to supplement and boost your owned content. So what is paid media? Paid media refers to any marketing efforts that requires you to actually pay, right? It's to feature your business on external websites, networks, depending again, if we get into paid media in traditional, there's channels to go that way too. So there's a broad range of these methods, right? When it comes to digital, which is the most popular these days in a digital focused economy, and we have things like display ads, pay-per-clicks. You're going to see that PPC a lot. Understand what that language is. So PPC advertising is basically when someone clicks on it, you pay. And that's it. So if you're going to click to go to a website and that's part of your goal and part of the strategy in your ad, you basically have to pay per click. And there's different auctions, there's different ways and values based on that, but that terminology is very popular with paid digital ads. Branded content, things like that, where you actually pay. It's not, and let's be clear, it's not about paying someone to create content. That's a whole nother discussion. It's about payment to promote something. So you've created it, and now you're actually giving it a little extra money to send out into a larger network. Social media ads are also very popular. So the key characteristic of paid media is that you are buying the opportunity to gain visibility and traffic through placements on channels outside your own properties. Quite often when we do organic, right? Like we're reaching out to our network. They want to hear from us. That's really great, whether it's our email list or maybe we're on LinkedIn and we're sharing organic content. That's all within your network. So if you want to boost and you want to go beyond it, to go to extended network within the platform you're paying for, that's what you have to pay to do. So paid media allows businesses to directly target specific audiences and measure the effectiveness of their campaigns through data. Some key metrics are impressions, clicks, and conversions. So impressions are how often does it go on someone's feed. right? Like is actually, are they going to be able to see it? Now, whether they actually do is a whole nother story. But if they get in front of those people, that's an impression. Click is when you actually click, like we'd mentioned, onto whatever call to action button that is there. And then conversions is if it goes across, say you want a lead, and you'll go to the website, and then it's going to go to that website, and then we're going to track it, and then which is tracking someone to click on a quote per se, or did it go to this page, and then did it go to the landing page where we want to book a discovery call or purchase a product. So that's where it's actually converting, and we can show how it got there from the ad. There's a lot of things you have to consider to be able to get conversions, but impressions and clicks are quite common in the ad world. Easy stats and metrics that you can get back from them. So for small businesses, particularly those with limited budgets, paid media can be beneficial as it can help support organic marketing efforts, right? Which will help you scale. You can start with a small budget and grow, and it will help you. It's basically a boost to your organic. So paid media campaign, let's run through one, because really you might not do paid media all the time. You might, or you might. There's two kind of ways, right? Like there's the ongoing, hey, I just want to drive traffic to my website. I'm going to keep it running and keep it running. It's still a campaign. It just runs for a longer time. And then we can do a campaign that's just short. So maybe you're promoting a specific sale that you're doing, or you're promoting an event. So just like when we do a marketing plan, where the plan is for a full year, it's still a plan. When you do a marketing campaign, it's the same. It's a mini plan. And that's the same when you want to run a paid media campaign. So first off, we have to define our goals. What do we want to achieve? Do we want more eyeballs on the website? Do we want conversions? Do we want sign up forms? Like there's so many things. Please do. That's the first and foremost thing you need to know, because as soon as you go to set up your ad, that's the first thing they're going to ask on the platform is, what are your goals? You have to understand your target audience, know who they are, really know who they are. That will be one of the most important things you do, and get very specific. So the more specific your budget is, so if you're really limited, or you're really focused on selling one product, you need to create a mini persona for that ad. So if it's targeting someone very local geographic, if it's a certain type of business or people in a certain area that's shopping in a certain area, you have to get down to that understanding. Now that is if it's a very targeted campaign. Again, it's going to be broad, sometimes it's going to be specific, but you do need to understand that, because it's going to influence the type of headline you use. It's going to influence the type of imagery that you use, and even some of the language. So it goes back to our target audience content that we created earlier. So conduct a competitive analysis. There's a lot of tools out there, but kind of check out what other people are doing. Quite often I will watch my social media feeds and start clicking on things, because as you start to click on things, they will start to show you. So click on those competitions, right? And see what kind of comes up. What are their ads? What compels you to actually to click through? Is it working? Is it not working? So that's sort of your research. You can get other feedback, and then there's actually tools too to see what the competition is doing. So do spend some time checking out your competition. Choose the right channels, make sure it's right for your budget, make sure that's where your audience is. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Make sure you set a budget, start low, keep learning, keep it consistent, and let it grow. Create compelling content. Just talked about that. Make sure your imagery is right, your headlines is a good hook, that the description area is filled out, and also your call to action really makes sense. Follow SEO best practices really means know your keywords, know what people are going to be searching on, and make sure you include them. Schedule and execute. Most platforms will help you do that as you go through. If you're doing print, you have to actually do things a little differently, but in the digital space, they will allow you to schedule. They will often do a review. Please do Don't just kind of do it and throw it out there and just assume it's going to be working. I don't know how many times I've gone in and I thought an ad was running, should have been running, wasn't running, or there was an error because there's a lot of guidelines and you sometimes have to revisit it. We're going to get into the monitor piece, but make sure it is launched and it's scheduled, and constantly go back and make sure it's working. So schedule and execute. Monitor and analyze, that kind of fits right into that one, in the fact that you need to keep looking. Is the results working? If it's not working, adjust it. Really do take those metrics into consideration and adjust as needed. Optimize and adjust, as we talked about. So those 1, 2, 3 at the top there are really key. So launch it, make sure you're monitoring, optimize and adjust. And then finally, when the campaign is done, make sure you report, do sort of a post-mortem, have a look at it. What did you learn for next time? And what can you do? Failure is good. Just don't do it, multiple times. If you don't take the time to reflect on it, you're not going to know what to fix. So, learn, do, and adapt. Okay, some quick stats just to inspire you to keep going. More than 1 in 3 marketing leaders cite conversion rates as a top KPI that they prioritize tracking. So what that means is, at the end of the day, if your ads are not converting to sales or leads or what you want to do, it's wasted money. So please do think through the whole process of what you want people to do after they get to your website or after they do it, and make sure it follows up and it supports your marketing goals, which supports your business goals. And then nearly 2 out of 3 marketers report that their average landing page conversion rate is less than 10%. What does that mean? That means please do make sure your landing page aligns with your ad. That when you send that ad and you go over and they go, I don't know what it's not even jiving. Or else it's like, I need more information, or I have to scroll down and work for this. So please do make it super simple, give them the right information and make it compelling. So think through that so that you cannot have a low 10%. We want much higher than that. With effective optimization, that's the next one. Pay-per-click advertising can yield an average return of $2 for every $1 spent. That is a pretty good ROI. Now, there's a lot of factors in there that you have to do, and it's going to take practice and a lot of trial and error, but just know that it's worth the effort if it makes sense for your strategy. And then marketers say that Google's planned third-party cookie phase out has had the most impact on their marketing strategy this year. Now, we'll point out that these stats are all from 2023 and 2024. So this Google third-party piece is something that is ongoing. And recent news, as of the recording of this webinar, is that the third-party cookie phase out for Google is pushed off to 2025 because there's still a lot of things that organizations are working through. So what are third-party cookies anyways? Well, they are tracking codes that we place on a web browser by a website other than your own. So the first-party cookies is all about tracking code that is on your website, and it's tracking activities. It's all within the domain that you have agreed to be a part of. The difference is, and many of you will see those little bars that you've had to accept all tracking cookies, is that when you lead, it has a little bit of tracking code attached. Now it can watch where all the other activities you've done outside of that website. That's a very simple version of what it really is. Please do read up on that to understand a little bit more, but basically it's trying to support the privacy and give control back to the user so that these marketing and these organizations aren't tracking, invading in their privacy. So read up on it. There's more here on this document, which will be available in the comments below. And searchenginejournal.com is one area that I follow these guys a lot, and they have usually keep up to date on it. So the link is there if you want to go and check them out. It's a good site. Marketing channel mix. This is a familiar um, page that we've seen, which just has a whole bunch of them. And remember, even when you do paid, owned, and earned, it is finding the right mix for you. Today is about the focus on marketing channels, so I've added in a few others. The ones on the one side there, they're more the traditional, right? Like snail mail, radio, billboards, things that you have to put money behind. Again, it's not the content per se that you're paying to get designed. It is the spend to go out and promote it. Now, some of them will include the design work as well. So make sure that you ask them all of these questions if you're going to do an advertorial, which is when you pay to have it sound, it's more like a story, but you get a chance to go in and write a story or an article and also promote your business. What are they going to help you with? Will they help you write the article? Will they help you design the ad? Are they going to help you with the placement? That's all valuable information that can help support if you don't have the skills or the in-house team. So make sure that you ask all of those things, and also make sure you ask them when you're setting this up, what do they need? What format of imagery? Like, what kind of logo do you need? And this is where having a brand set is really important, because then you can just send them a links to all your brand guides, your logos, and different types of photography if you have branded photography. So have all of that organized. It will make your life a lot simpler. And then that is the same actually for ads. But running Facebook ads and Google ads, they won't help you. You will have to actually get a third-party person or do it yourself. So the one at the top there, that's a Google ad logo if you don't recognize it. And then LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram are Meta. LinkedIn is popular. You can do TikTok, you can do Pinterest, you can do X, Twitter. Um, we're not going to talk about them today. I can't talk about all of them, but they're out there if you are interested. Are you using that platform? You might want to consider it. YouTube is another very popular one. If video is a big part of your content strategy and you're using YouTube a lot, statistics show that YouTubers find that paid and promotions within that channel are quite effective. And then influencers can also be a paid one too. We're not going to get into influencer strategy. It's definitely another space, but it would be considered a paid channel if you're going to go and hire influencers. So today's session, we are going to focus on Meta, and I'm going to do a demo. However, I'm going to run through these highlighted ones too, so you guys will have the links so that you can go and investigate more. Google Ads, there it is. Basically, it's ads.google.com if you haven't set up an account, and it is all part of the Google suite. So if you're going to be measuring your performance on your website, most people have Google Analytics, they'll have their Google Search Console, and Google will most certainly be prompting you to do a Google ad, and they may even provide you with a credit. So if you have set up your Google Business Directory, that's all part of it as well, and there might be somewhere in there with a credit. The credit, as it stands for this webinar recording, they will give you X amount. It was on mine anyways. They said, here, we'll give you $600, but you have to pay $600. So do read through the fine print before you start going through all of that. But they do want you to get going doing that, and it's very much keyword focused. They will help you analyze your competition as well, and the cost per click and all of that type of thing will depend on industry demand, how much it's being used, and they'll have a whole bunch of things there for you to review. So have a look, ads.google.com. Then YouTube advertising, if you have a YouTube channel, basically this is the URL. The link will be part of the PDF, and it will walk you through how it works and what to do. And then LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a platform, if that is your platform of choice. Many of our service-based businesses where they're selling B2B, LinkedIn is sometimes the only one they're on. Then it might be worth the investment. Typically, from my understanding, is that you have to have some pretty deep pockets in your budget to get results here. Now, I could be That was my experience. You have to go in and investigate for yourself. And there are different types of ads for LinkedIn. So one type is a sponsored content where you put it, and you've seen them on your feeds, right? Where a sponsored content will come up and it'll almost look like a post. And then there's sponsored messages. I have no doubt that all of you have seen these sponsored messages. It's really nice that they tell you. It's an easy way to get in front of people. How effective it is, you will have to determine that. LinkedIn ads, the dynamic ads is just another one, and it will start to learn as you go. And then the text ads, and they're the ones on the side, right, where it's just a small image and text. And all of them will have different pricing and different structures. And the link there is below for you to investigate more. And then meta ads, the most popular probably within the small business community, and it's facebook.com/business/ads is where you can find out more. The meta suite is Facebook, Instagram, Messenger. There's also Threads in there too, which I'm surprised it doesn't fall in there. And then also WhatsApp is part of their ad structure. I'll have to look into actually Threads. We'll have to see about that one. Okay, so if you have your business, if you have a Facebook and Instagram page, most people have that set up and are working on it organically. And it's good to have both. Make sure you do connect it through your business.facebook.com. If you do have your Meta Suite set up, I would recommend going in through there, but you can also go in just through your page if you haven't, and create an ad that way. But this is what the screenshot looks like once you log in, and you can see it on the side panel. Just go to that bottom hamburger and you will check out all the advertising tools available to you. This is the one we ran through, and this is our Acorn Studio Marketing. This is what we look at and see how there's a create an ad, and that's just there. It's great. But it is, we did run through our Meta Suite for this one. When we clicked on it, it comes up with this option where it says get started with automated ads. During this time of the recording, like this is relatively new, we see a lot more of AI getting started and helping ads. It's going to be a trend. I will say, please do pay attention to that if you're going to be getting into paid media, because there's going to be a lot of AI support. So click on that, and basically it's going to ask you to choose your goal. Just like we mentioned, make sure you know what you want. So for ours, we picked get more leads. It's like, okay, so we're going to get more leads. We're going to have, that means they're going to set up a contact form for us. They're going to ask what you want on the contact form. They're going to ask you how much you want to do. And this is kind of what has to happen. So in the form, it has the basics, right? Your full name, your phone number, and all of that good stuff. And then you can also ask an open-ended question on what you want to talk about. I do recommend asking something. If not, you're not going to know how to pre-qualify some leads. And then there is a place to do add a privacy policy. There's a lot of that out there where it says, hey, you can just drop in a link, even with LinkedIn when you're doing events and things like that. So I do encourage you, if you haven't done that on your website or somewhere, I encourage you to create a privacy policy. It just makes life easier, and they do favor it for sure. Now, what I did was we had to add in an image. You might want to make sure that you have this image ahead of time just to make sure your process is easier. You add in an image, you add in a headline, you put in a description, and then you can give it a button label. And on the side, it's going to actually show you what it's going to look like. And this is something they're going to ask you as well, is to add in what type of audience. You can customize your audience, or you can use their advantage audience. And that means they're going to select it, and they're going to work, and they're going to find ways to do it. So this is where Facebook needs to learn, and I'm just going to use these for an example. Don't create an ad for 2 days. Don't create an ad for like 3 days. Give it at least 7 days, because Facebook actually has to learn. So put it in and let it start to learn, and it will start optimizing itself. And I know this because I've experienced it in both ways. So please do consider a longer run than just 2 or 3 days. Then there's a place too where you can, the special ad category is what countries do you want this to run in? Don't forget to check these. Like for me, I just want Canada and the US. I don't want it running all over the world. That's not my market. So know your market, know your audience, and make sure you check those boxes. Okay, and as of this morning, the time of this recording, I went in to check the results and we just got started. So it's only been running 4 or 5 days, but what was my goal? I wanted more leads and I got one lead, which was kind of cool. So what does that really look like? What kind of information are they going to give me? Well, that one lead takes you to, when you go into the results, it will give you a chance to check out. It keeps it for 90 days, I think, if I have that right, and you can download it. So download your ads, download your lead. It's in an Excel spreadsheet, as you can see. So ongoing lead gen ads. It's a CSV or an XLS file, and it's there. And it has a whole bunch of information of which I won't share for privacy reasons, but it was there. So quick review, paid media, quick tips, summary, understand your audience. You got to know them. So if you haven't had a chance to look at our target audience course information, please do that and run through a target audience strategy, and then really get to know the audience for this particular ad campaign that you're running. Write engaging headlines, clearly articulate the benefits. Don't just talk about the features of what they're going to get. It's like, know their need, right? That's part of your audience and what they're going to benefit from you. Choose the right platforms. Use tools like Google Analytics, keyword research, all of that stuff for researching piece, but also for analyzing and documenting and creating graphics. Design high quality visuals. Follow your brand guidelines. They always say about compelling content, but it's got to follow your brand, your style, know your personality of your brand, and follow all the colors and imagery as set out in your brand guide. Use A/B testing. What does that mean? Do one against the other. When you do A/B testing, you only change one variable. So you might have to just change your headline and which one's working. Quite often, an ad, when you set it up, will let you set up an A test and a B test. Optimize for mobile, of course. Make sure your image is easy to see, clear on a small screen. Monitor and adjust based on results. Focus on retargeting. Basically, what it does is if somebody clicks through but doesn't convert, you can send the ad to those people that clicked through that didn't convert. And that is really your true retargeting. So it's basically, oh, or they've left something in a shopping cart, and you can actually retarget to those people. So it's just to boost them through the funnel. Timing's everything. If it's seasonal that you're looking for, marketing activities, make sure your ad makes sense, right? If you're doing things, another campaign off organically, make sure you time it there as well. Mix of long and short campaigns, as we've mentioned, long running ones for general brand awareness, but also for specific leads for short campaigns. Ensure your landing page is optimized and aligned with your ad. And then start small. You don't need to have a big budget. Start small, learn, and grow. So those are the summaries, the quick tips for getting started with paid media. Always make sure your organic is set up first, your brand is there, and then pay to supplement your other marketing efforts. And that is paid media.